Hey guys, it is LazBroHekin and welcome to another review. This one is of the game called Bomber Crew. And I will say right off the bat that it is a very quaint little game. It is a World War II bomber management simulation strategy-like game, different aspects all melded into it. You're given charge of managing a British bomber crew during the heyday of World War II, flying missions over Western and Northern Europe, whether that being bombing specific military targets, taking photo reconnaissance, escorting ships, or helping out downed allies. If I had to relate it to other games, I'd say its two closest cousins would either be Faster Than Light for its plane maintenance and management aspects, or Darkest Dungeon for the way it handles crew management. But I would definitely say that Faster Than Light is its closer cousin in many of the game aspects. But, as always, let's stop talking about the description of the game and dive right into the brine and dill of this sweet, sweet Pickle Rick. As per usual, you know I'm going to roll out with the positives first. First thing I'd like to say is that this game was a lot more fast-paced than I had anticipated and what had at least been conveyed to me by looking at the trailers. And that is a good thing. It's a very good thing. Between trying to line up your sights for a bombing run, making sure you're marking the Nazi Air Force planes for your gunners, and also ensuring your repairman does not fall off the wing of your bomber while he's trying to fix one of your engines that caught on fire, this game has some pretty wild moments, and I'll definitely say that my first run through the game, there was a lot of casualties on the SS Booty Snatcher. Not even the SS, the Booty Snatcher. You know, we lost a lot of good men and air women back there. You know, it was a real tragedy, especially in the first few runs for what was maybe considered the very easy aspects of the game. The second thing I really liked about this game was the amount of customization you got when it came to your plane. You start with a bomber that's basically constantly short-circuiting, doesn't have a lot of range, and is very weak to enemy fire, but as you complete more missions and get more research points, you're allowed to choose different little aspects of upgrading your plane, whether it be the fuselage, the gunners, the electricity works, the hydraulics, the oxygen, to adding like lifeboats or homing pigeons. You can add all these different things to them, like all these crazy things, and you know, eventually by the end of the war you can really have that flying fortress that all adolescent planes aspire to be when they grow up, and it's truly a work of art, a badge of honor. You're also able to choose various paint styles for your plane, and this also comes along with decals, etc., your writing. So if you really want to, you can have the Nazis tremble in their lederhosen as your pink wings of destruction drop death from above and shoot down all of their friends in the Stukas. As I mentioned sort of in my first positive, I really liked the simulation and or management aspects of the inner workings of the plane while you're on a mission. I'm going to get really specific here, but for those of you who remember, I think it was the first Call of Duty or Call of Duty United Offensive, there was a mission where you were part of a British bomber crew fighting off Nazi warplanes while trying to commence your own bombing run. And both that mission and Bomber Crew have a lot of similarities in the fact that when you're trying to be an actual bomber crew, there's a lot more than just flying the plane and hitting the button to drop the bombs. You know, there's a whole crew running around trying to put out fires, make sure the gunners are working properly, you know, making sure your navigation's on point. There's all these different people doing different stuff, and in this game, the bomber crew, you have to be in charge of all of them. And at times of levels of stress, when you're really deep into enemy territory, this can add up to a lot of things, and sometimes you have to make compromises. You know, do you mark the enemy warplanes, or do you potentially try to save one of your 4 engines from blowing up? You know, you have these little things, these little trade-offs that you have to do that can really impact the outcome of a mission. And so I really liked that about it. And then you have like other things of like, oh, you're also having to check your fuel. Well, do you have enough fuel to make the run? And if you have enough fuel to make the run, are you able to even make it home? And if you can't make it home, where do you land? Do you land in the ocean? Does your crew have the equipment for that? Or do you land on land and maybe try to risk it out there? Try to maybe get a rescue attempt. There's all these little things that for maybe what could be such a simple game has so many deep intricacies to it that I really liked that. And so, I mean, I would definitely say that the management aspect is truly the cornerstone of this game. That is what it's really built on. It's not built on the bombing. It's not built on World War II. It's truly built on crew management. And I think that's a very important thing to highlight about this game. Now, this brings me to my first and really only negative about the game. And while I do only have one, which is maybe this is possibly the first review where I've only had one negative, this is a pretty bad and pretty damaging negative. In the sense that, man, I really do not like the whole aesthetics and graphics that were put into this actual game. You know, with the big Lego blockheads and the pixeled eyes, the paint schemes that you can add to your plane, it just totally takes away from what could actually be a very serious but very fun World War II bomber management plane. Because instead I just feel like I'm playing some weird version of Animal Crossing where our main character finally snaps after having enough of Mr. Nook's exorbitant store prices and figures out that the cheapest way to build his own damn two-story house is just by invading Poland. You know, it's just like, it was hard to take this game that seriously with how lackluster and bland and misconfigured the graphics are to what I would say is otherwise a very well conceived game. So for my verdict, for what it's worth, I will recommend this game. You can definitely play it a few times and find the value through each run of it. I can't imagine this game coming home with any special accolades or high praises, and to be honest, there's at least one game on the horizon that I am almost willing to bet will eclipse this game. It's called U-Boot. It's basically the same concept, but instead of being in a plane, you're in a submarine, and it has the graphics and the aesthetics I would actually expect in some sort of World War II game like this. But for what we got, it's honestly a neat concept, and it's pretty well executed. The management part was definitely a nice surprise, and I know I will find myself playing this game in the future. It's 15 bucks on Steam right now till I think the end of the month. And so I'll give it my 3 out of 5 Gs. It's a decent game. So that's all I got. If this is your first time listening to a Game Gamut review, this is Last Brohican. Hit that subscribe button, and as always, happy gaming, gamers.